there's been a lot going on, hasn't there? A lot to take in, a lot to deal with psychologically. And I don't know about you, but I'm just hanging on in some instances, some days, and other days I take a few hours break from seeing where this atrocity is at and if there's anybody going to step in and stop it. But, you know, it's sort of a real hard, it's very, very hard. And I'm sure if you've been following this genocide in Gaza, you probably would agree that this is probably, I don't think I've really witnessed anything as bad as this, ever. I was too young for the Vietnam War, and we didn't get a live stream of the genocide in Yemen that was also US-backed. And there's been other things, of course, other genocides in between, but this is the one that didn't come out of the blue, although to some white liberals and other people who haven't had any idea about what's been happening to Palestinians, they might think it's come out of the blue, and the corporate media make it out to be like that. And they also present a false narrative about it all. But I think a lot of the world now, even that false narrative has not worked on them. I think a lot of people can see very clearly what's going on, and that Israel, just since October 7th, has been outrageous in what it's been doing to Palestinians. I've actually sort of come to love Gaza sadly through this awful atrocity, because I've never seen much behind the fence. There hasn't been this kind of insight into what an amazing people they are. I knew they were, special and stuff, but this is amazing, and it's sort of the fact that you don't really have any choice, I guess, when you're living there, but it's like the amazing, the community sort of spirit and working together against all these odds. They were already heavily oppressed before October 7th and traumatized again and again with Israel bombing them indiscriminately, mowing the lawn, in quotes, and all that kind of stuff for decades and decades. But now this there are no words to describe how awful this is. It really isn't. And now when I see children in the street, and I just think of dead children now. This morning when we were burning some papers, and I was looking at the flames, and all I could think of was Erin Bushnell. And that was something incredible. And no, he didn't have mental illness, I don't believe so. I think he was quite in his mind when he said those words that he said. When he said the words that he said as he was walking to set himself on fire. And just as Thich Quang Duc wasn't out of his mind when he set himself on fire, that Buddhist monastic, during the Vietnam War. It was as Erin Bushnell said, he didn't say this, but Erin Bushnell described it as an extreme act of protest. And it certainly, despite the corporate media trying to play it down and not even sort of explain why he did that properly, trying to keep it to basically his message, it still has managed to get out. And I think it just emphasizes and sort of externalizes in many ways how many of us feel, as in it's gone on for so long and it's so horrific. Sorry, my eye is watering. There's a lot of pollen today in the air. It's so horrific that when you think that Israel couldn't do something more depraved, they managed to do it. And the images of children, now we're sort of seeing not just bombed children, but starving children. And I said to Dee Dee today, yesterday, I said, it's been hard enough seeing bomb children. I don't know if I can take seeing starving children now. I've already seen one baby who looked terrible, and another little baby that was prematurely born, and they don't have the medical facility to help it, so that little baby's just going to fade away. I hope they have some very strong painkillers there, I hope. It's just, I don't know, soul destroying really, because one of the things that I find disturbing about it, setting aside that the Palestinians are going through it, but this is like the Palestine at this point. This genocide is, a message to all of us really, that laws don't apply if the ruling class and the people in power, if they want to destroy you, they can do it with impunity. And so it's also, it's like Palestinians are indigenous, and it's a message to indigenous people, but it's a message to the wider. It's like we're asserting the colonizer, the colonizer white supremacist position. That's how I see it. It's like, but also it's there's two entities. This is a combined effort with the U.S. and Israel. Israel knows, Netanyahu knows that if they stop what they're doing, that could probably be the end of Israel. He's basically shot himself in the face so many times during this 120 plus days that I think that Israel, basically a Zionist settler project, has mortally wounded itself. I do not think it will survive if this genocide ever comes to an end. It has to. So it's basically destroyed itself, and it only has itself to blame. And then we have the empire, U.S. empire, that is funding and protecting them while they do it. And it's just like the Roman Empire, it has spread itself too thin. It can't even manage to do the U.S. proxy war on Russia. That's failed, and good luck with China, because I don't think that's not possible. I don't see them ever being able to defeat China, and the only way they could do that is if they launched a massive nuclear attack and they'd get it back. So I don't see that happening. I don't see them being able to successfully invade Iran. They'd probably have to drop a lot of nukes to be able to succeed there, and that's not going to be successful because there'll be other countries come to Iran's aid, like Russia and all of that. So that's not going to work. And here we are. As the US knows, just like Israel knows how to pick on the most vulnerable, the US always picks on the most vulnerable people that have nothing. The Palestinians don't have a navy or aircraft or guns, really. I mean, Hamas has guns, and it recycles different weapons that it finds and stuff like that. And it has tunnels, and Hamas is doing a great job. But I mean, the U.S. is the most powerful in the world. The U.S. empire, to me, reminds me of Norma Desmond in Sunset Boulevard. Norma Desmond didn't realize that the glory days of her career were over, and she was really just a legend in her own mind, basically. And the same can be said of the US. They think that it's still the same as 30, 40 years ago, when they could just stamp on everybody. They could just stamp on everybody, and nobody could really fight back. But it's not like that now. So between the two of them, one is completely deluded about where they stand in the world, and the other one is trying to make a poison into some sort of bouquet. I mean, it's really, through its own atrocious, like dementedly bigoted behavior, is has basically finished itself, I think, I hope. One can only hope that that will be the end of them after all this, after the dust is cleared. And I just wanted to say something about, I was going to talk about some of the things that I've seen that I find just amazing. But you've probably, whoever follows this channel is usually, up to speed with most of that kind of thing, so I probably won't. But I did want to say how in awe I was of Aaron Bushnell doing what he did. It only came to my attention when I was, my Instagram has become a horror show in the last 4 or 5 months. But I saw the image of him, just a still of him standing there with flames creeping up his back, and I thought, oh my God, is that real? Like, I was wondering if that was sort of a real image, and I was wondering what it was about. And then when I saw the video and I saw what he was saying, it was just so amazing and so succinct that I thought, wow, I find that I've been thinking about him ever since I saw that image. Sorry, as I was watching and he was walking along and he wasn't saying anything for about 30 seconds before he put the camera down, I was wondering what was going through his mind. Because he probably knew this was going to be an excruciating death. And that's what makes it, one of the things that makes it so wow, what an amazing hero. I wish I had that sort of courage, but I mean, and I'm sure a lot of people would think that about him, to be able to because a lot of people, I think, who, you see it in the comments section of different posts, that people are kind of beside themselves. They don't know what to do. They're doing all they can, but they don't know how to stop this. They want it to stop because it's so appalling. It's so appalling to think that the West is pretty much on board with all of this and is just pretending it's not going on. The most appalling live stream thing you could watch day after day after day, and the West is just, the Western leaders, in quotes, are just letting it go on. That is so shocking to me. I mean, Israel, you sort of expect this, I remember watching Abby Martin's little snippets of people being interviewed in Freedom Square in Tel Aviv, and they were so bigoted. Even then, they were saying things. Oh, drop a big one on them, and these weren't even cherry-picked people. She was just interviewing different young people in the square, and they were all really as dementedly bigoted and genocidal as you see the IOF, the Occupation Army, Israeli Army, are just. It's like they've been given free rein, and they are really running with it. And I say, go on with that, film everything, because film your war crimes. But I sort of knew that they were, sort of dementedly bigoted. But then to see it en masse, and so angry, Israeli civilians so angry, and the IOF so sort of you can see the level of dehumanization, the way they sort of the way they talk about, the way shooting children in the head is a regular thing for them. It was regular before the October 7th. That's what a lot of people who've come late to this party don't realize. This has been going on for a long time, but now they have free range to just, target practice children. And then you have I probably lost the train here, as usual, but anyway, and you get the picture when you see a Jeep running back and forth over somebody that they've shot. How much have you lost your humanity, and how much do you hate a group to just run back and forward over a person like that that's dead, that you've killed? How much have you lost your humanity when you can, that there are babies starving, and you're putting up bouncy castles, and sort of having a little party on the other side of the wall when you've been blocking aid to get through to them, and food. And that makes me really sad for them, because I know that a lot of that is indoctrination. From people who've been born there, it's heavily indoctrinated into them how much to hate Arabs. And then you've got all the people that are flowing in, from everywhere to try and outpopulate the Palestinians and just push them out, and then sort of raise their houses to the ground and then build over the top of them. And they're all from, a lot of them are from Brooklyn and in New York, in New York and all around the place. And they just think it's like free real estate. And they're chomping at the bit, to use a specious expression, of how they can get some sort of seaside property. And I think that's already being, sort of sorted out with probably BlackRock and the like, because disaster capitalism is great for big corporations. Just imagine being in that situation and watching all this around you. And I feel so bad that I can't really help much. Every day I look at the videos, I look at Bisan, the journalist Bisan, and some days she looks okay and other days she looks really depressed. And I just I just feel really bad living in the West, and we have plenty of food here in the house, and I think, God, if only I could, just, it's where I wish I could have the some sort of special power, like a superpower. Anyway, I'm worried that it's not going to stop, and that there's going to be a lot of starvation, and we're going to have to watch lots, like hundreds of thousands of people starve. I'm very afraid that that might happen. I don't think I could witness that. It's been hard enough watching what's been going on already. Anyway, I don't know. Has anybody got any ideas on how to deal with this? How to... You know what's fascinating about, like, when Didi and I go down to the to protest at the nearest town. It's a bigger town. It's bigger than, like, we live fairly rural. This is like a rural town that is that we go to that's much bigger than this. And so there's a lot of people go around the roundabout in cars. We get a lot more positive responses than negative ones. But for every 5 good responses, we get 1 negative one. And the negative ones are, they're always white men. I think there was one Middle Eastern man, I think, would have gave us the finger and said, fuck you or something. There was, but there's a lot of white men that are really angry, just like the Zionists, really, really angry, and either shouting or giving us the middle finger. And I just sort of think, I wish I could just stop them for a moment and say, tell me why you're so angry. I mean, what exactly about what is said on our, sort of posters? And I bet you they couldn't even answer that. And I think the real reason they're angry is because they think, if you're sticking up for, people of color or whatever, black people, or, in this case, Arabs, and then you're against, white people. You're against the natural, the dominant group. They would think it's the dominant group, but really we're a minority compared to the rest of the world, white people. And that whole white supremacy thing which is this colonial mindset. And so they're angry that somebody who, is, white, is sticking up for groups that are supposed to be inferior, or that we're supposed to preside over. I think it's really as basic as that. boy, they're going to get a shock one day. But anyway, it's amazing just how angry they get. Like, yeah, it's really, really interesting. But I'd love to be able to ask them a few questions about that. So you're okay with a genocide? You're okay with 14,000 plus babies being decapitated and their insides ripped open and all of that and buried under rubble? Is that why you're angry? Because you have a problem with somebody being against a genocide? I mean, it's just mind-blowing. I don't know if the IQ of the human race is getting lower. I think I heard that it was some report or something, but geez, there are some people who they are functioning on such a base level they don't even know why they're angry. And like I get that there is a lot that's wrong with the world, but the fact that people always want to take out their frustration about the world on vulnerable groups it gets so tiresome. It's such a bully attitude, and bullies are cowards. Israel is just one big coward. And so is the US. Two big cowards that act as bullies, trying to assert their dominance, and they don't realize that their time is past. And the multipolar world is here to stay. And they just don't realize it. Or they think that they can turn it around. Anyway, if I was Aaron Bushnell's mother, even though I'd be so sad, particularly seeing him in such excruciating pain at the end and still managing to say, "Free Palestine." He said it 4 times while he was engulfed in flames. Even the last "Free Palestine" was when he started sort of, you could hear, I haven't watched the whole thing because I'm going to watch it in stages without the pixelation, but I've seen part of it without the pixelation, but it gets to a point, I've heard the audio where you can hear he's in extreme pain because obviously he's at the point just, it's not long before he collapses. And he still manages after kind of showing, like he was sort of groaning a bit or screaming, I don't know, it was more like a groaning, screaming sort of thing because he was completely engulfed in flames, and he still managed to say one more "Free Palestine." I mean, talk about presence of mind when you're literally completely on fire and the fire is burning your muscles and cooking you basically. The excruciating, unbelievable, unimaginable, excruciating pain of that, to be able to still say "Free Palestine." I mean, what an amazing, like that, to me, like just putting it in, say, a Buddhist framework, Buddhists would consider that, I'm not a Buddhist, I was, but I'm not now, but I subscribe to some of the philosophy and stuff. But they would, say that he's a bodhisattva, basically. And just like Thich Quang Duc, the Vietnamese monk that self-immolated, he was you would call him a bodhisattva too. So that's what I think of Aaron Bushnell. And his mother, if I was his mother, I'd be so proud of him, even though it would have been wonderful to have somebody like that on the planet to be able to work for justice, because he's obviously incredibly principled and everything. And apparently he was very kind and generous, and he also, the family said he wanted to liberate everybody, which is just lovely. That's a bodhisattva aim, to see the liberation of everybody from internal suffering and external and whatever, it's all related. But, if I was his mother, I would have been incredibly proud. But anyway, good thoughts and for his mother and his family, that they are able to get through the terrible loss and feel that Aaron completed his time on Earth with something that was very, very powerful, and that hopefully that is the catalyst, that a catalyst that will remain in the memories of everybody and hopefully push us closer to the end of this absolute atrocity that's happening in Gaza. to a wonderful people there. And bless the Yemenis for the wonderful things that they're doing to try and turn this around. Okay, I'll better go because my battery's getting very, very dangerously low. So hopefully I'll do something sooner than the last one again, the last video that I did. So anyway, thanks for watching. And if nobody's told you today that they love you, I love you. And let's keep working for a free Palestine. Till next time, bye for now.